It's time for a quick shout out to some of our friends. The Old School Mini Bikes and Parts Facebook group. The Strictly Vintage Mini Bikes and Go-Karts Facebook group. The All About Mini Bikes Facebook page. Genuine New Old Stock Vintage Parts. The Vintage Snowmobile podcast. And the Muscle Car Show and Tell podcast. Ben Thomas is your independent AMSOIL dealer. Click the link in the description for your free AMSOIL catalog, or scan the QR code to earn the deepest discount by becoming a preferred customer. To advertise with Ben's Vintage Mini Bike podcast, the Vintage Snowmobile podcast, or the Muscle Car Show and Tell podcast, please reach out to Ben or Mike for more information. Details in the description of this video.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Vintage Mini Bike Lovers podcast. I'm glad you could join us tonight. My good friend Mike LaPierre and host is unable to be here tonight. I know he's doing something good, and I wish him a good time this evening. I will miss his assistance behind the scenes, so I hope I'll be able to run the reins pretty well. So I apologize in advance for any glitches. We got a great show planned for you tonight. I am expecting our co-host Rob Hildreth to join us. We'll be talking about some AMSOIL at some point in the show. And also Rob is a big fan of mini bikes, and so I always appreciate his comments and what he sees as we look through some of the video footage. For tonight's show, we're going to meet George Ackerman. George is owner and creator of the Moto and Mini Barn Museum. George has an awesome collection down there. He does an annual event for motocross in the fall. Something new this year, though, he's going to be doing a show in later this month, about 13 days from now. It'll be 2 weeks from yesterday, and he's going to have a great event. We'll talk a little bit more about that this evening. So what we'll do is we'll take a little comments. We got some comments coming in, and I'll be taking some comments. We'll be letting them go through the show as we go through the videos. So I hope you have a great time. Be sure to comment. I love to hear people's thoughts as we go through some of this stuff. So without any further ado, I present George Ackerman. I'm here with George Ackerman from Ruther Glen, Virginia. Hey, George, welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here.
George, you know, you and I have not met in person, but I kind of feel like you're one of my brothers already. We've had several times to chat over the past several months or more, and I'm really intrigued about what you have going down there and an upcoming event you have. And we'll talk more about that later on in the interview. But tell us a little bit, what got you started in mini bikes?
Well, you know, I was the typical kid that saw other kids got mini bikes, and we just kept begging our dad. I had two brothers. There's three of us, and we didn't have much of a place to ride when we first got it. We lived in town, and it was just an alley. But we wore that alley out when we got one. We kept bugging Dad, and he finally bought, I remember it was a Montgomery Ward's 525, so it was a big one with the 5 horse. And, you know, we learned a lot from that thing because it broke all the time. And it didn't really break. It was just the chain would come off, and then something would be wrong with the carburetor. And we learned a lot, but it was so much trouble. I can't remember what happened to it. I think my dad might have took it back. And then after that, we got a little Sears runabout, just the cheapest mini, $99 special. And we just rode the wheels off that. I remember pulling the string to get past the governor, and, you know, we did all that stuff. We had tore up blue jeans and everything. And that,
yeah, you know that
got it started.
That's such a common theme that, you know, you learn to, you know, cut your teeth, so to speak, putting chains on and other stuff. I've talked to so many people, and that's just, it's really just awesome.
Well, it's really good that they broke a lot. because you learned so much because you wanted to ride so bad. You do most anything to rig it or whatever you could do to get it going.
Yeah,
You know,
that's so neat.
and everybody I think did probably the same thing.
Yeah. So other than those couple you mentioned, at some point, George, you started racing, and I'm not sure where you graduated, whether you raced some of those early mini cycles or you went right to motocross.
Well, we moved out of town and moved out to a large subdivision, and there was a lot of kids that had Z50s, and you started seeing the Trail 70s and the small trail bikes, and I wanted a small motorcycle so bad. And I had friends that had them, SL 100 Hondas and small two strokes, and we went to a dealership, and there was an old Harley Rapido there, and it was really cheap. So my dad helped me get that, and I rode that, and it was pretty bad. And but I rode it. One good thing about it, it never broke and left you sitting. It just kind of fell apart a lot. So another good learning experience. And then I've saved some money cutting grass and stuff, and my dad helped me, and I got a brand new 71 Suzuki TS90. And I had a ball on that. We went camping, and I just rode it. When I'd get home, from school, that's all I did. You know, it was just, I was hooked on motorcycles early. And it wasn't long, and motocross started coming around, and some of it was called scrambles back then, but I had a friend, and we decided to modify our bikes. He had a TS 250, and I had that TS 90, and we modified them. And me and my buddy, we went to the races. First race I raced, I got third place, and I was hooked, you know. And that got me started. And then after that, I moved on. I had a CZ 125 and had some success on that, even though it was really heavy. And I bet I weighed 120. I don't even know how I rode it, But when I got an Elsinore 125s, that's when I always raced expert class. It's just, I never raced with the amateurs or anything. Probably my dad. I remember the first time they asked him, "What is this boy, amateur, expert?" Well, he said expert. So forevermore, I was racing expert. So it was tough at first, but I learned a lot again. I didn't get beat much, just early on.
Really cool. Really cool. Well, we're going to take a quick break, George, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about that. We're going to actually start rolling a little bit of the video that you have. So stand by, and we'll watch some of that, and then we'll talk a little bit more about racing, and then maybe talk about some mini bikes.
All right. Hello, guys. My name is George Ackerman, and I'm going to be doing a series of short videos from inside my mini barn. And it's here on the Moto Barn complex. And we also have a Moto Barn museum, but we're going to do the mini barn today, and I'll be covering some mini bikes in here, some paraphernalia and stuff, and talking about the upcoming mini bike show that we have here on April 26th, and it's all free. So let's just start looking around the mini barn and see what we got. Here we go. Let me get back here. Okay. We'll start here. You can see there's lots of reading material here. There's a nice, I like original mini bikes. So we have a nice MTD. That's a nice rider. I rode many times. I used to take it to the motocross races as a pit bike. And here's a nice original Fox Doodlebug mini bike. And we've got, like I said, I like originals. And we have a nice Coleman with a Saxonet and a Fox Sundowner with a Saxonet 2-cycle engine. I've rode these a lot in the past, and my grandsons rode them. Besides those is a Arco Easy Rider 3 is what people call it, but it's a rare chopper, hard to find. I'm planning on restoring that one day, just haven't got to it. Now we have a tote goat back here, and I restored this tote goat, and I've actually taken it hunting, and it runs real good. It even starts on 20-degree mornings on the first or second pull. I've added a few things, a tool kit, auxiliary fuel tank, added a flashlight and some accessories. But it's been a really fun bike to restore and ride. All right, right here we have an original Sensation mini bike. It's a nice runner. I did add a few things to it. It's all original paint. And right above it is another Sensation mini bike. Once again, all original paint. Just a nice original mini bike. So we'll be back in a few minutes, and we'll do some more videos.
All right, we're back with George Ackerman. And George, I really want to thank you again for joining us tonight. We were starting to talk a little bit about your race career. And, I know that lasted a number of years. You told me before the show that you had a photographer actually following you around. And it was really, really neat experience. And in the Moto Barn, you've got a couple of bikes that you had raced at later years quite a bit. And in there, you told me about that special drawing in the back there. Tell us a little bit about that.
That was a race at Dixieland Motocross, my home track. And I remember the race well because Gary Bailey was there doing his school. And I didn't go to his school. And he raced in the Cash Dash after. That's usually the last event they have is a Cash Dash. Everybody puts in money. It's experts only and pros or whatever. And he entered the Cash Dash, so did I. And the Cash Dash goes, the hundreds go first, and then the 125s. I think 3-second intervals, 250s, and then open 400s or 500. And the 125s are really, I think, had advantage because you can put the hundreds behind you and just put your head down and go. And maybe later on the race, you might hear a 250. But that's about all you have to worry about is if you got a hot lick 250. I led Gary Bailey and if people don't know Gary Bailey, he's real famous. They call him the Professor. He won many championships, but I led him for 9 out of 10 laps. He passed me on the last lap, and he came to the pits and asked me why I didn't go to school when I was a typical smart aleck teenager, and I told him I didn't think I needed any school. And he said, maybe not. You're really fast. But he said, I could have taught you, if you'd have come to the school, I'd have taught you how to help me off on that last corner. I thought about that. And we've been friends ever since. I'm friends with him today. He remembers. And I got an opportunity to race against a lot of pros, and some of them remembered. I turned pro briefly, but I injured my thumb in the first race, and I tore all the ligaments out of it. And then I met a girl and got married. That was the end of my pro career.
I think you told me at one point you started getting back into the ARMA Association and doing vintage races.
Well, when I got older, I got interested in my 40s. I got interested again in motocross, and I built a practice track here, and I restored a couple of bikes and started racing ARMA. And I had a a 9-year Army career, and I did well. I mean, I had some physical problems. I found out what they were later on. It was my heart, but that's why I stopped. But I had a good time racing Army. I had a lot of good friends. I mean, just a wonderful time. I won my share of championships, and
I
I was
think
real happy with my career.
these two bikes were two you said that you won quite a lot of races with.
I did. The 74 Elsinore, the 26A, is the identical bike that I started my racing career when I was a kid, the serious racing career. 228 is just a bike I built, and it just turned out so good. It's just so fast. I can't really tell you why. I matched the ports, and I did a lot of things, and I built engines before. But this one was really special. It just revs to the moon. And anybody rides it are like, what did you do to that? But I just didn't do that much. You know, it just worked out. It's one of them engines. It's just a good one.
Nice. So we're going to take another little break here, and we'll be back in a few minutes after we watch a little bit more video.
You're watching the Vintage Mini Bike Podcast with Ben Thomas. Don't you dare touch that mouse. There's more Vintage Mini Bike Podcast to go. We'll be right back.
Okay, we're back. So let's take a look along this wall in the mini barn at some of these mini bikes. Let's start with this Rupp C500. This is an original paint. I added all kind of stuff, kind of made a little rat rod out of it. It has some neat accessories. It has a 6-volt battery in the Fleshman's yeast container in the back, and that powers the vintage Sears lamp lantern on the front. It works real good. And it has a boat tail light, and it has some stuff. It has a fire extinguisher back there. And I rode this one at motocross races as a pit bike many times. I really like it. I preserved the paint on it because I like original paint. Here's another Rupp. This one has a 2-cycle engine. It's been added to, and auxiliary tank, and I just left it the way it was. Here we have a lot of helmets and engines. Different mini bikes. This is a Genco. A little Gen is what this is called. It's original. It still has the pedal control on it. Little Gens had this pedal control, and they didn't have a conventional throttle, and it didn't work very well. They say that when you hit a bump, your foot bounced around, and it was very hard to control the speed of the mini bike. Here's some Hodaka engines down here. Other Tecumsehs. More Tecumsehs. This is a taco, and it's for Jolie, a bean. This is the kit that you could order. And this one has an interesting Clinton 2-stroke with this crazy looking pipe on it. And it's just a neat mini bike. It's got the coolest tires you've ever seen. I really like them. The pattern on them is neat. And now this is a homemade mini bike that we will get to when we come back.
Okay, so we're going to take a little break for some video and check in on a few other things. I do really appreciate all the comments from everyone. I'd like to give a few plugs at this time. We've got a lot of channels that we go out to, and that's really due in large part to a couple of guys. With respect to Mike LaPierre, he has the Muscle Car podcast that he does every Wednesday night, and that goes out on all of his channels just like this does. We also have the Vintage Vintage Snowmobile Lovers podcast, and I do really appreciate all the guys that are coming over from that time slot Thursday nights. And right now, the Muscle Car podcast is going live every Wednesday night, and Mike does that generally April through October when the Snowmobile Lovers podcast will kick back up. I also want to give a shout out to my friend Joe Abadi at the Vintage Motocross Q&A podcast. Joe does that every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Joe has a great show, and I really appreciate the camaraderie and support he gives me in this venture as well. I'm going to give a shout out to my son Eric on the Benedim channel. He broadcasts all the podcasts on that one, courtesy of Mike's StreamYard podcast software that we use. And Eric has an awesome channel with all kinds of snowmobile content. If you dig really deep in there, you'll find some Farmall content and some other stuff. And I think he's going to branch off into a few other things. But his primary focus is the snowmobile shows, the vintage snowmobile shows, and riding. And so he does a great job there, and I really appreciate that. I'd like to give a quick shout out to everyone who is using AMSOIL. As you know, I'm a dealer through Mike LaPierre, and Mike is a dealer under Rob Hilditch. And right now they're doing a little promotion. If you spend $125, they'll give you this free magnetic bowl. It's just use free bowl in the order menu. If you'd like to get signed up, my referral code is on the bottom of the screen. If you look down in the description, there's links. I can get you a free catalog. I can get you signed up as a preferred customer. With respect to these promotions, the AMSOIL oil is really great for the mini bikes. I want to tell you, you need a high zinc content, and the small engine oil is high zinc content. And so this is really what you want to be using. For the Honda trails and the stuff that have the clutches and whatnot, there's also an oil specifically designed for those as well. So if you want some more information, please reach out to me. As far as the schedules goes, we're going to get back to some more with George Ackerman. And at the end of the show, I'm going to air a video that I did as a tribute to Mark Ditro, Marcus Motorworks. Mark unfortunately passed away untimely last fall, and it's really, really sad. And I was very moved recently that his wife had watched that for the first time in the past couple of weeks, and it really meant a lot to me. And when I, anytime I'm working on an engine, I can't help but think about Mark. And, he was so good to so many people in the mini bike community. He really did a great job on engines, and he was a wealth of knowledge, and he wasn't shy of sharing that wealth with anyone that asked. And so I miss that. Mark, you are definitely missed. So without any further ado, let's get back to the interview with George Ackerman. We're back with George Ackerman, and that was our mutual buddy, Joe Abadi. When we left off, thanking everyone for making sure they watched Vintage Mini Bike Lovers podcast. And I'm really grateful to Joe. I know he's a good friend of yours as well, George. And,
I've got great supporters. Joe's one of them, Preston Petty, International, Motocross, Legends and Heroes Tour. It's just great.
I appreciate that.
All the good guys.
Appreciate that. Joe's podcast features vintage mini bikes, or excuse me, vintage motocross. Is really in depth, really covers the gamut, and I would welcome everybody to make sure you check out Joe's show every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And Joe has his own channel, the Vintage Motocross Q&A feed. He has it on YouTube as well. So please check out Joe's show, anyone watching. So we had seen some mini bikes in the clip there, and there's a couple that really caught my eye in particular. And the one in particular was the Tote Goat. And I've got a little clip that. So we got this Tote Goat, and I know you told me that's one you restored. So tell us a little bit about that one.
Well, when I got it, it was in pretty good shape, but I had to tune up the engine, and I decided to paint it with a brush. And I bought a really high quality brush, and I put several coats of it's like a heavy duty tractor type paint, and it's not real shiny. It's still like a matte green. And then I had some modifications to do to make the throttle work right, and it has a lot of original parts on it, and the seat is original. And I added a few accessories like I showed in the video: toolkit, auxiliary fuel tank. The reason I did that is the Briggs engine had one of the deep, large fuel tanks, and it had a hole in it. So I had another tank carb that would same thing, but the tank was smaller. So I didn't want to run out of fuel in the woods, so I made a manual auxiliary tank where if I thought I was getting low, I could look, and then go, okay, I'll put some in there. You just hope a valve runs in there, so nothing to break. You kind of take the cap off, put the hose in there, open the valve, and run it in there till you want to cut it off, and you put it back. That's how it works. But it works every time. So, and I used it hunting. I took it deer hunting a couple of times. I didn't drag any deer out with it or anything, and I took it squirrel hunting. I just used it for a couple of years like that. My brother rode it around the place. It'll climb a tree, I can tell you that. And you can start it in really cold 20s, and it'll start up, and it almost sounds like a hit and miss engine. It's going bump, 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 but you come back in 5 minutes and it's picked up the pace, and after a while you can take the choke off and you're fine. It's pretty amazing the way it starts up. But it was a fun project. It really was.
Very nice. The other one that kind of caught my eye was that scooter in there that had was that a 2-stroke on there?
Yeah, as far as I know, they made their own engines, and that's a 1949 model, which is the first year it came out. And like I explained some in the video, they messed up. It's a Posen twin 2-cycle. So it was, and this thing probably doesn't even weigh 50 pounds. So it's just way too much engine, for what it is. And the interesting thing is, it was owned by an elderly gentleman that passed away, and he was a pilot in the 50s and 60s, and he bought it. And once he unfolded it, he didn't fold it back up. He just put it in his plane and had a rope there that just tied it in there and where it stayed there. And because he was getting older, and it was a long walk across the concrete tarmac, and he got tired of doing it, so he bought that thing and used it for several years. His son told me, and it was always out of the weather. I'm sure it would start right up. And as you can see on the picture, it's got the neatest little twin exhaust, the little square things you see coming down.
Yeah.
That's your exhaust. That's your exhaust on your opposing twin. So it's just a really rare scooter because they quickly changed it. The first model was way too powerful and fast. He told me his father had to take it easy with it. And they went to a single cylinder, and I can't find a brochure or advertisement with this engine. They always have this single. So they changed it rather quickly, from what I found out.
Yeah, it's definitely a really cool piece. We're going to take another quick break here, and then we'll be back with more with George Ackerman. Stand by.
Okay, we're back to a homemade mini bike that is really cool, and somebody did a wonderful job. Has a Clinton two-stroke. It appears that somebody even had it on the road at some time. Has a highway decal on it. The fenders are neat. It's just an awesome homemade mini bike. The only homemade mini bike I have in here. Now this right here is an Argyle scooter cub. And the thing about this scooter cub is it's different from most of them. It folds. This is a folding mini bike. And this mini bike was found, a friend of mine, father passed away, and it was in his airplane. And his father used it in the 50s and 60s to get across the tarmac. But he didn't fold it up. He just strapped it into the plane and rolled it out and rode it. And this Argyle is one of the early ones with the opposing twin two-stroke engine. And they quickly found out, look at the cool little exhaust. They quickly found out that it was way too powerful and too fast. So they changed it back to a single cylinder, as you can see in the Scooter Cub's picture here. So this is a extremely rare mini bike with this engine. It's just, and even the other singles are very hard to find. All right, let's go over here and take a look at this beautiful Bonanza chopper. This is a CR500. I did not restore this bike. I bought it restored. It is beautiful, and it is an excellent restoration. I've seen some nice ones. I haven't seen any better than this one. And I like the color. I like the green. And it's really the prize of my collection. So we'll be back soon.
All right, we are back. And George, that's really a treat hearing some of these stories about these bikes in particular, and that story about the scooter. But I think there's one bike in there that's your pride and joy, if I'm not mistaken. And you seem to be very fond of a certain Bonanza that's in there.
Yes, I didn't restore this Bonanza, but it was for sale. This is years ago. And it was a good price, and I negotiated with the seller, and I had some other mini bikes that he liked, and I made a trade with cash, and the chopper's it was so well done. I mean, it doesn't have the original chrome air cleaner on it, but I have it, and I could put it on there. I just left what was on it. That's the only, now some people talk about the headlight position, but that's optional. You see them up high, you see them down low. I like them up high. So, but besides that, it's an excellent original type restoration. There's very few pieces on there that's not original. I'm not sure exactly the gentleman that did the restoration's name, but they did a really great job. I mean, the attention to detail, the paint, a lot of chrome on a CR500.
Yeah,
And
it's beautiful.
I've done, I've had Hodaka engines done. I don't do Hodaka engines myself. They're a little different than the ones I work on, but I've had them done, and it's not cheap to get an engine done like that and shipped to you. So it's just something I bought, but I'm really happy with what I got it for, because since I got it, the prices on them have just, you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Some, I've been offered some big offers for it, but I just don't want to sell it at this
Anyone
time.
would be proud to have that in their collection. That is a very nice bike.
And all this keeps me busy. I come over here often, wipe them down, keep the place clean, and same in the motor barn. And it doesn't take as much time as what you would think, and it's just something that keeps you going. And you enjoy it, when you look back, you can actually look back and say it looks good.
And what the neat thing is you've got that set up as a climate controlled environment. So, those are going to be preserved. That's really an awesome thing.
That's right, especially here. Now, over there, it's not all climate controlled, but some of it is. But here, all of it is.
Are you in the main part of the Moto barn? Is that where you're set up right now?
No, I'm in the mini barn.
Oh, you are in the mini barn. So how big is your facility? Just out of curiosity, where you have the storage of the mini barn?
All right, the mini barn building is 900 square feet. The motor barn is it's 1,600 square feet. But it's
I have
really
to say, George,
tall.
the way you've got that set up, that is very well organized. Because it looks like a much larger area that you have all those bikes set up. They're very nice job.
I learned when it got crowded, go up. So a lot of room to go up over there. Not so much here, but this building is nice and cozy.
Yeah. I remember when you first started posting some pictures and setting the bikes up, somebody was kind of critical of you going up on those, but it was like, I'm not sure what they were thinking, because like you said, you can take those bikes down at any point very easily.
Yeah, there was like, they'll never be ridden, but I can get one down. I'm looking at one right now. I could get down, put a fuel. I can get down myself, even with my back. I could get it down and put fuel in it, ride it.
Which one's your favorite one to ride, would you say?
Oh, I rode that. I tell you, if you ever want a good riding mini bike for a good price, the small wheel, I've had them both. The spoke wheel MTD and the smaller wheel MTD are both nice, full-size minis. Even the smaller one, adults fit on it good. It has a great seat. The rear suspension actually works. The brakes work. It's got the 4-horse Tecumseh, the slanted engine in the one I'm looking at. That's a nice ride. It's just some of them are cool looking, but they're terrible to ride. And you find out real quick, I can't do this. But those MPDs, I've had the spoke wheel and the small one. Those are excellent. I like the little small Rups. The small wheel Rups, the early ones. I don't have any of the spoke wheel roadsters or anything yet, but the small Rups have a really big seat and it's comfortable. And
you heard it here. You heard it here first, folks. He used the word, he doesn't have one of those yet.
Yeah. I don't know where I put it. But I've got 3 more bikes coming in here, and I do have more room, believe it or not. There is
Well, if
room
there's a
for
will, there's
three
a
more.
way.
Well, that lineup over there isn't particularly crowded, so I could crowd a couple more in there pretty easy.
Yeah. Well, you got some open floor space, it looks like, too. So
Well,
I'm
I've
rooting
got
for
a
you,
lot of
George.
open space. Yeah, I like to keep open space because when we have the show, I'll have these, they'll just be coming in and out on both sides.
Right.
There's big doors here and big doors there, and you got a deck out there. And you can see the whole grounds from out there and the show and everything.
All right.
And
Well,
that's where a lot of people announce and all.
we're going to take one more break from the interview and watch the rest of that video, and then we'll be back on the other side. Stand by.
Ian, who my brother Mark Ackerman restored. And it's just immaculate. And it won the PVR bike show, mini bike show in York, Pennsylvania, which is a very tough show to win. And, I was very surprised. I've had friends that tell me they've entered a dozen times and have never won anything. So this is a real beauty. The attention to detail is really something. And the paint quality and the entire bike is just beautiful. So we'll move on across this wall. More hats. Mini bike seats, bar pads, sissy bar tanks. Oh, and something that everybody likes. One of those. A Kickstarter. More stuff. More stuff. We'll walk around over here. I'm going to show these. These are the awards for the upcoming Moto Barn motocross bike show. And this is the first time that these awards have been seen in public. And I have 5 best in shows, none alike. And as you can see, they are so custom. They're just really neat. And I plan on having awards like this for next year's mini bike show. So please come. I hope we have a great turnout. I'm going to quick for this area. We actually have a go-kart hidden. Old go-kart hidden back here. This is a area for Virginia local district motocrossers that we did. And there's a few motocross bikes in here, but not many. This Mako is one of them. Be back in a minute. Okay, let's start another video. I want to talk about the show coming up on April 26th. It's all free. We have a swap meet also. We will have hot dogs, all the condiments, drinks, and it's all free. We're going to be giving away these custom-made Best in Show awards right here. And I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen these. I made them myself as best I can, but I guarantee one thing, there's none alike. You won't have another one. And just here's some of the goodies that we're just giving away as honorable mention prizes and, such. And we will have the Preston Petty mini mutter fenders on display here. And I'm really excited about these because if you have mini cycles or even the spoke wheel mini bikes. These fenders can be trimmed. They're really nice. There's more colors coming, and it's just a great thing for the mini bike community to have another option. All right, let's take a look here at some of these mini bikes. Like I said, I like originals. And this Easy Rider, this is a Arco Easy Rider, one of the later models, 72 or 3. You can tell by the handlebars. But it is all original. And if you ever want to look at one for an example of how to make one original, this one is original. It wasn't ridden much, and it's just really nice. Now, of course, we have engines, lots of engines on display. And we have another Arco. Now, this is the later model, the 70 model, and you can tell the handlebars are different. I did this one, and it has an NOS engine, and I never even have ridden that one. It's so tiny, I don't think I even can, even though I'm not a big guy at all. This green Arco is one that I purchased, and it was restored, and I really liked it and got a good price on it. And there's lots of memorabilia, original Bronco helmet in the box. A Sears L Tiger helmet, all original, NOS condition. Lots of gas tanks, hats. A lot of people talk about my hat collection. They really like it.
We are back again, and that is just an awesome setup you have there, George. I got to say, I'm sure the viewers agree that the video tour we just received was really awesome. And there's you have an open house. It's a show and swap meet coming up on April 26th. Tell our viewers a little bit about that.
Yeah, we've never had a mini bike show or swap meet. We've never had a swap meet here at all. We've had numerous motocross, dirt bike, enduro type shows. And we've had some mini bikes that came to those shows, mostly mini cycles like XR75 racers and some of the Indians and stuff like that. But this will be our first real mini bike only show. And it's not just mini bikes, and the years don't matter. It's mini cycles and mini quads and mini three-wheelers also. And we're going to judge them all. And we've got 5 Best in Show awards that everybody has seen or will see. And we also have 5 honorable mentions that I'm putting together. It's just a bunch of goodies, And Amsoil stuff, different stuff. I think they'll like them. And everything is free now. We'll have hot dogs and probably potato salad and macaroni salad and all the fixings for the hot dogs, and we're planning on chili and onions and everything. And all the drinks are here. And we'll have signs out for parking and show parking and show display. And there's a lot of room here to set up whatever on both sides of the building. And
we're pop that graphic on so people can take a look at the address down the bottom.
Yes.
Coming up on April 26, 2025, the street address is there, County Line Church Road with the street number. We're at 16238, and you are in Ruther Glen, Virginia. Yes,
and we'll have signs out front, Moto Barn signs, and probably put some balloons on the mailbox. And it's a hidden driveway, so people do have a tendency to drive past it, but I'll try to help with that. And there'll be plenty of signs, and I'll go over everything on Facebook the couple of weeks before the event. I'll be putting out a lot of information about where to park and everything.
If
And,
people have
like,
questions, should they reach out through Facebook or phone you? What would you prefer?
they can send me a personal message is what I prefer.
All
But
right.
it doesn't, I'll answer the phone if they phone me. It doesn't really matter. All we ask for is donations. And that's, if you feel it in your heart to donate, do it. That's all we ask. We take donations and try to cover the costs. And we just want everybody to have a good time.
Now, if anyone's in the area, I think by appointment also you open the Moto barn and mini barn, right?
Yes, if I get a PM and I get PMs from people say something like, hey, I got family in Maine and I'm traveling from Florida to Maine and I'm coming. I know you're just 10 minutes from 95, and they'll let me know. And I like to have a day ahead, but it's not really necessary. Like I said, I usually keep the place, if I have 2 hours notice, I'll just open everything up and have it ready.
Very nice, George. Well, I really want to thank you again. I think it's been a real treat seeing your collection, and I hope people will turn out to your show on April 26th. It looks like a fantastic event, and so if anyone has questions, make sure you reach out to George. George, in closing, anything you want to say to the viewers?
No, just think about the event. If you can come. We do have a rain date for the event. It's the next weekend. I hope we don't have to even talk about that. So I just hope everybody, and bring your kids. We want kids to come and enjoy the show. I will say no riding here, but crank them up and sound them off. All
right. Well, George, thank you again so much for being on the Vintage Mini Bike Lovers podcast. I'm going to pop that graphic up so any viewers can take down that information. Thanks again so much.
Thank you, Ben.
So it was really nice to see George's facility, and I really want to thank George Ackerman again for taking time to sit down with me and talk about the mini barn and his upcoming show on April 26th. It really was a pleasure, and I hope the viewers enjoyed it as much as I did. We're going to cue up that last video I mentioned showing the Mark Ditro restoration of a very, very special H30 engine that he did for me. Stand by. Okay, everybody. I'd like to tell you a little story about some vintage H30 Tecumseh engines. Some of you know my dad sold mini bikes back in the early 70s, and one of the luxuries was having a bunch of engines on hand. Recently, while gathering up some parts, I found that there were 5 different engines from his original inventory still left around, all date-coded the same. As I gathered up the engines, I realized that I had to absolutely have one of these rebuilt. So I started putting the various parts together with the engines that I thought they belonged to, and I came up with this particular one that I was going to send to Mark Ditro for a rebuild. Mark wasted no time getting the engine all organized on his workbench. He spent painstaking hours, I'm sure, cleaning it up, checking the specs. He did a custom 4-angle valve job. You can see where the exhaust one was all pitted. He really was a master at these engines. Here's the assembled engine. Next, we'll see Mark firing the engine for the first time. Mark's attention to detail was impeccable. The engine looks absolutely better than original, in my opinion. Mark always used the water slide decals from Mini Bike Paul. Mark always posted about his builds, and when you looked at his workshop, you could have sworn it was an authorized service center for Tecumseh engines. Mark used bankers' boxes to build a shipping crate so the engine would be totally protected. Here you see the engine still sitting in that shipping crate he built. Mark, you left us way too soon. Rest in peace, my friend.